Hey cruise team, it's Coach coming back at you. It's been a couple days since the last video, so I wanted to make sure I got something to you before the end of the week. Sunday night here, and getting ready for a full work week. Been doing a lot of coaching, and actually I'm actually doing some girls flag football right now. It's the first season I've ever done that. It's new in Chicago here where I'm at, and our team was actually on the local news, so that was kind of neat for the kids to be able to see themselves on TV and everything. And Chicago Bears sponsored a big event for us, and yeah, so like I said, the kids got to have some fun, got to scrimmage, got to do a lot of drills with some educated coaches who knew what they were doing, and yeah, it was good. So the topic for today is cruising. And cruising is going to continue. It's not going to stop. That's my prediction anyway. And I'm going to give you my reasons why. Okay, so the CDC has come out with new guidance for the cruise industry in terms of wearing masks and offering suggestions of how cruising should look and everything. The dumb part about that whole thing is basically the entire cruise industry is doing the exact things they're suggesting that the cruise companies do. So apparently, well, I mean, to me that just seems dumb because it's like they know what every cruise line is doing. So it's kind of like suggesting like, yeah, we're pretending we don't know what you're doing. You're doing all the stuff that we think you should do. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But I have a few reasons here. If cruising were to stop, it looks really bad for the government. And if we've learned anything in the past 5 years, politics are playing a huge role in America. People are making decisions based on political affiliations. And I hope we're smarter than this in America. I really, really hope we are. But to attach yourself to one party or another and not look at the big picture and see, make a decision based on not what party you're affiliated to and what most of the people in your party are saying you should or shouldn't do, but actually making your own individual informed decision. I have friends that are on both sides of the table, and I just hope that everybody's making decisions that are informed decisions, not what your friend on social media thinks, not what I think, but what you think based on who you feel are experts in the field, and making decisions that go along those lines. That's what's best for you, what's best for your family, when you factored in all the information that you can absorb, that you think is truthful, that you think is factual, and making a decision based upon that. So that'll get off my soapbox as far as that goes, but I hope that's what people start doing instead of, again, attaching themselves to politics. So getting back to the politics, though, again, that's going to look terrible for the government if they have to start canceling cruises. The CDC does not want to cancel cruises, does not want to tell cruise lines that they're going to have to stop cruising. If the CD does step in and say, okay, hey, you're going to have to stop cruising, I think it will be an individual line, or basically give whatever cruise line is not following, the safest precautions or protocols. I think they could penalize maybe one cruise line and say, hey, look, you're not following our guidance to the T, and because of this, we're shutting you down. And then maybe use them as an example for the rest of the cruise industry. I could see something like that happening. But for them to close it down completely like we did before, that's going to look really bad on this, the Biden administration, because obviously they want to look good. They want to look like, hey, we're getting control of the situation. COVID numbers are going down. We're returning to some normalcy, everything else like that. If we're going backwards, obviously it looks really bad for them. And, with Afghanistan, all the other stuff, they don't need more bad news on their plate. They don't need to be going backwards, right? So that's one reason that cruising is going to continue. So for those of us that want cruising to continue, I think we have that going for us. Okay, another thing. I mentioned this, alluded to this earlier, but the cruise lines are already doing many of the precautions that the CD recommends, and even more so than what's going on in the regular world, the non-cruising world. Okay, they're almost all the cruise lines now are making wearing masks indoors when you're in crowded areas mandatory. That's happening across all cruise lines. All right, now I know I had this discussion and comments, and some of those of you commented. When they get to the point where they're making you wear a mask outdoors, that's probably where I draw the line and say, okay, yeah, I mean, that's not a cruise anymore. If I can't enjoy the fresh air, as the ocean goes by, that's probably the deal breaker for me. I hope it never gets to that point, but it could. I don't know, and I would love to see in the comments how many of you would say, hey, I can wear a mask outdoors. It's not going to bother me. I'll still cruise. I'm anxious to see if any of you in the comments feel like, nothing's going to stop you. It's better than this. And I love the outlook of a lot of people, that think like that just have that positive outlook. It's just for me, it just, like I said, I'd prefer to find some other vacation alternative where if I'm outside, I don't have a mask on my face because I don't like it. And like I said, I've been very clear on this. I don't think anybody does like it. I wear it, out of the consideration of others, because I have to at work, all those things, I do it, but don't like it. I don't think anybody does. Cruising is safer than most vacations. Okay, it seems like it would be a little bit hypocritical for the CDC to say, oh, we're closing down the cruise lines again, because it's not a safe way to vacation. Oh, but you know what? We're going to let you get on planes and be bottled up in these little cylinders for, 3 to 5 hours as you fly across the country, or and then get off somewhere else and, not wear a mask and be in big groups and things like that. We're going to let you do all that, and those type of vacations are fine, but we're not going to let you get on a cruise ship that's 95 to 100% vaccinated, and which they're making it mandatory for you to wear a mask inside when it's in crowded areas and stuff like that. That doesn't seem to make sense. That would be hypocritical. So that's another reason why cruising is going to continue. So I think we have that to look forward to. Now, there are a few, I guess, conditions to cruising continuing. Remember the Zika virus. I think most of us remember the Zika virus. That hit the cruise industry pretty hard, and they were really slashing the cost of cruises, and you could cruise at a very affordable price if you were willing to risk traveling during, the Zika virus scare. And, especially if you were a younger couple that were still planning on having children, things like that, there was a lot of concerns about, birth defects and stuff, and the children, it made perfect sense. So obviously there was a lot of people canceling cruises. Now, obviously COVID is a very big scare, understandably, for a lot of people. And, what could happen is, obviously, people could say, you know what, I don't want to risk it. There's been, it's getting to the point now where everybody knows somebody that's died of COVID, or that's gotten COVID and at least been in the hospital for a few days or whatever. Maybe in some of the rural areas, it hasn't happened, but I can assure you, myself being in an urban area where the population is more condensed, sadly, I know people that have passed. I know people that have been in the hospital. I know people that have almost lost their spouses, that have been on ventilators for days and weeks at a time and everything. It is a very, very scary situation. So, those people that don't want to risk it at all, I understand. There's a colleague I have at work that changed jobs, that left our school. And I happened to see her in the parking lot on her last day, and she said, yeah, I'm going to a school where I can just teach remotely because, I'm close to retirement, and basically she doesn't want to risk it. I completely understand that. So what I do think could happen is so Carnival, for example, they don't have all their ships on the water yet. Will they bring back all their ships? Maybe not. Maybe not. Because there may just not be enough interest or enough bookings to warrant bringing back all those ships online. So I think they will continue to cruise. I think Royal will continue. I think Norwegian will, get up and going and stay continuing with their cruising. I just think it may be fewer itineraries, fewer ports, fewer ships. I could see that happening, but I do not see cruising stopping completely. I also think that, cruising is going to continue because I believe vaccinations are going to continue and grow. I think people understandably had hesitation in getting vaccinated because, they didn't trust it for whatever reason. It hadn't been tested enough. I mean, generally the FDA takes 2 years to test something out. Obviously, that wasn't the case with these vaccinations. But as more and more people see, like, okay, I know this and this person, and they've had the vaccination for 9 months or whatever else the case may be, and, they're perfectly fine. They actually caught COVID, and it was just like a minor cold to them because they had whereas I know this other friend that didn't get vaccinated and they got admitted to the hospital. Thankfully, they made it out, but, they were a lot worse off, whatever the case may be. Also, interesting story to me, I just heard somebody told me about a story of a teacher in Texas that infected basically her entire class because she chose that she didn't want to get vaccinated, which again, that's her right, but she chose to not get vaccinated, and as a result, gave essentially her entire class COVID. Now, believe what you want about the vaccination as an adult, but think about it from a parent's perspective. And now you have this adult that refuses to get vaccinated, and they just infected your child. Now, if your child, recovers and it's just like, a cold or flu and they get over it and everything fine. But there have been cases, obviously, where it's really impacted young children. Now, is that going to throw up a red flag for some people that said, you know what, I'm against the vaccination, but I want anybody that's going to be with my child, if my child is going to be in school, to be vaccinated? Does that make a difference? It's an interesting thought. And I mean, the people that are against vaccinations or whatever are, what would you think about it? So if you're somebody out there that's against vaccination, think about that situation where the teacher infected her entire class. And would that upset you or anger you in any way? Obviously, if your child got very sick from it, I think it would. I think it would bother you, and maybe you would definitely rethink it. So I'm interested to see how people take that. So those are just a few of the reasons why I believe that the cruise industry will continue. They're gonna struggle through this, and the best way they can. And for those of us that have already been on cruises, I've had the fortune or blessing to have gotten to be on 4 different cruises this summer before heading back to work and coaching and everything else like that. And I'm looking forward to my next cruise, which is right after Christmas, and bringing the New Year's on a cruise ship, which I love doing and my wife loves doing. So looking forward to that. But I do believe it will continue. I gave you my reasons why. I would love to hear and see your comments whether you think cruising will continue. Obviously, there would be many valid reasons why cruising might not continue going forward. And then you may agree with me with some of the reasoning that I gave, and why cruising would continue. So please put in the comments what you think. I would love, love, love the subscriptions have been going up, and I love seeing that. Even days when I'm not putting up videos, I'm seeing more and more people are subscribing. So thank you for you're one of the recent subscribers, and thank you if you're one of the subscribers that have been around for a couple months. We've only been around a couple months. July 8th was the first video I put up, and you know, I mean, we're not even to September 8th, so we're not even 2 months old yet, and we're about to hit 300 subscribers. So thank you, all of you that are some of the first subscribers, and I hope we look back from a year or two from now and see a few thousand, and you 300 can say, hey, I was one of the first 300 or whatever, and look at where we're at now. And so thank you for starting this growth out, and I hope to see many of you in the future on future cruises. If we've already cruised together, I know we had a great time, because I had a great time on every single cruise. And for those of you that haven't met yet, I'm looking forward to partying and hanging out with you and meeting you, and seeing what makes you tick and why you love cruising so much. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I will get back with another video soon. And thanks for watching this one, and we will see you later.